All right, guys, as you come in, get ready to take some notes and get ready for an amazing Zoom this morning. This is welcome everybody to our Dream Team Friday Mastermind. We're the Dream Team here at eXp Realty. Want to welcome everybody, welcome all of our guests. Dream Team, y'all in the house? Any legacy builders in the house?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning thing.
Awesome, guys. Well, we want to welcome everybody this morning. Thank you all for getting here. You guys are the early birds, we do have limited space, so you guys got here early. So you were very definitely smart to get here early because it's gonna fill up. Again, welcome everybody. Hey, let's go up. We're gonna kick it off about 8:05 in just a few minutes, but let's hear some wins from this week. What's some good things that happened in your business this week? Just jump out there real quick. It has to be quick, guys. What's some wins this week? Any wins?
Good morning. This is Linda. I got a listing yesterday. Met a Marine Corps family here in Stafford, so they're going to be transferring at the end of May. So we should be on the market by April 15th.
Woo! Awesome! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Gulam.
Good morning, Gulam. Yes, this is Gulam Sarwari. I actually closed one of my buyer, which is we submitted offer a month ago, so we closed it yesterday.
Awesome.
Everything is been completed. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Any other wins? Anything good happening in your business this week?
Everybody, I wrote 2 contracts yesterday. I'm just waiting for word back from the listing agent.
Awesome. Congratulations, Tim.
This is Julie Shepard. I'm new here, and I'm in Annapolis, Maryland, Navy vet, and I got a listing yesterday for April.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Awesome. I picked up, this is Connie in Texas. I picked up some military buyers in Virginia this week. Looking forward to speaking with the wife. They're going to be living near Fort Belvoir. So I've been looking at possible homes, and it's hard there too.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Connie.
Thanks.
All right. Any other wins, guys?
Yeah, this is Lawrence McKay. I actually had a buyer who was sitting on the shelf, decided she wanted to move forward with finding a commercial space for her business. So we're looking for a lounge type event space somewhere in Fairfax or Prince William County.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Congratulations, Lauren. All right, guys. Any other wins?
Good morning, this is Noelia. I have a closing next Friday and I submitted an offer waiting for the listing agent to see if I got it.
Woo!
Congratulations, Molly.
Awesome. Congratulations. Good. All right, guys. 1 or 2 more wins. We're going to shift gears here. Any other wins? Okay, well, hey, we're excited, guys. We got this amazing lady that's gonna be here this morning, to share some awesome information about taxes, guys. It is almost tax time. How many of y'all excited to hear some information about how to structure your tax business, your taxes a little bit better?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. How many want to hear some effective tax strategies of the wealthy? Yeah. Definitely, guys. So I want to introduce Teresa Smith. Teresa was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee. She's a Tennessee lady. Go Titans. She's a wife, mother, grandmother, 7 years in the insurance industry, over 18 years as a tax professional. She's our dream team, eXp tax professional, guys. We always pick her brain about anything tax related. She's also taught classes, pretty much worldwide in our eXp cloud office, the eXp network, Black eXp network, and also for eXp. So she's well sought after as just an expert. Professional in the tax industry, guys. 12 years as an instructor, 10 years in the mortgage industry, 12 years as in the real estate industry, guys. She's also a realtor with eXp Realty and owns and runs her own tax company as well. Notary certified signing agent. She has a degree in contract management and business administration. She is the CEO of Virtual Tax Zone. Yeah. And she's the owner operator of the Hard Squad LLC, guys. So this lady has it going on. We really appreciate her taking time out of her busy schedule, because I know she's getting ready. She's ramping up for tax season. So she's extremely busy right about now, but she took time to come and share some information with us as realtors and business owners. So guys, without any further delay, just want to bring on this awesome lady here. She's a prayer warrior too. I wanted to put that in there. She's a prayer warrior.
Yes. That's number one.
That's number one. So, hey, thank you, Teresa, for being with us on today. Hey, I'm gonna turn it over to you, ma'am.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. First of all, what I want everybody to do is relax, because I know sometimes when we talk taxes, people get all bent out of shape about taxes. What I want you to do now, and to remember, taxes is not as hard as you think. IRS is not as scary as you think, as long as you're doing things correctly. So that's what we're going to make sure today, that we're going to do things correctly. That way you can relax. You can relax and you can stop worrying about taxes. We're going to try to make that easier for you today. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Rod, let me know that you can see what I need you to see here.
Looks good. Looks good.
Looks good. Okay, what we're going to talk about today is business taxes, the structures, the strategies, and savings. The biggest thing that everybody wants to do is save. If I took a poll and asked everybody what they wanted in life, in whatever, what they would say most of the time is freedom. Whoops, let's go back. Excuse me, I done went too far already. There. The main thing you want is freedom, whether it's financial freedom, whether it's freedom just to do what you want when you want. That's what most people live for, is that they want to be free to go on vacation when they get ready, buy what they want to buy, do what they want to do. That's what everybody is seeking after, even if it's just financial freedom. Well, to get what you want, you must change your thoughts, because your thoughts become words. You got to change your words. You got to change what you speak over your life. Quit speaking that the IRS is some scary place. Quit speaking that taxes is a necessary evil. We have to pay taxes, but we want to pay as less taxes as possible. We don't want to do tax. We want to do tax avoidance, not tax evasion, because tax evasion is illegal, as we know. So we want to do tax avoidance. If we can avoid paying taxes, that's what we want to do. So we have to watch our words that come out of our mouths. Quit speaking that taxes is scary. Quit speaking that the IRS is some big entity that's going to come and take everything you got, because we can stop that from happening. Because once you change your mind, you can change your words. Once you change your words, you change your actions. And once your actions change, your life has to change, okay? Disclaimer, I am not an attorney. I will not give you and cannot give you legal advice. I am not a financial planner. I will not give you financial planning advice. I am not a retirement specialist. I will not give you retirement advice. I am a certified tax specialist with over 18 years of experience, who specialize in small businesses who wants to become big businesses. Anybody on here, y'all can unmute for a second. Anybody on here want to become a big business?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Do business like the big ones. That's
Yes,
what
sir.
we're learning today. How to do business and how to save just like the big industry does, without going to jail. I'm tall, I don't do stripes. Okay, so what we do is do tax avoidance without tax evasion, because tax evasion can land you somewhere you don't want to be, and there goes your freedom. Okay, what we're going to learn first about is structure, how to actually set up your business and structure your business. There are there are 5 major structures, legal structures that we're going to only talk about 3 of them today, but there are other legal structures. One is sole proprietorship, partnerships, limited liability companies, corporations, which is C Corps and S Corps, and joint ventures. The 3 we're going to talk about today is sole proprietorship, limited liability companies, and S Corps, okay? Because those are the main ones that smaller businesses start out with. Partnerships can also fall in there when you want to establish a partnership. But the 3 we're going to talk about today is sole proprietorship, limited liability companies, and S corporations. A sole proprietorship is an individual or married couple that has not elected to be taxed as a partnership, who owns an unincorporated enterprise that operates with a profit motive. No one is in business just to be in business. Everybody is in business to make a profit. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, as far as a sole proprietorship, that is automatically set up. If you start doing business activity, whether you set up anything legally or not, you are considered a sole proprietor. Okay, so whether you do anything or not, when you start a business, you are considered a sole proprietor. The sole proprietorship liabilities, because there is really no line between the individual and the business, the owner has no protection from liabilities incurred in business activity. What that means is, if I just set up to do my business and I just go under the name of Teresa Harge, I haven't put anything in place, I am considered a sole proprietor, which means everything that I own, everything that I make can be at risk. So you are no different. When you're a sole proprietor, you are your business. There is no separation in that. The business assets are at risk and personal lawsuits filed against the owner. However, some states may allow protection of personal assets that are owned jointly with a spouse, or that are transferred to your children or something like that. But for the most part, everything that you own is at risk when you are sole proprietor. Taxation, as far as the IRS is concerned, there are no federal forms that you have to file or license of any kind if you're going to operate as a sole proprietor. The business starts the first day you receive income, that you receive income from providing goods or services. So from the first day that you sell a house, if you now have not established a LLC or some other form of business, you are a sole proprietor. If someone decides to sue you, they can sue you personally, okay? And all of your assets are at risk. For the sole proprietor, the tax reporting is a separate Schedule C form that you file along with your 1040 personal tax return. You are subject to self-employment tax. Self-employment tax is the equivalent of you paying Social Security tax and Medicare tax if you are employed as a W-2 employee. These forms are filed with your 1040, okay? So you've got to keep in mind that when you're a sole proprietor, you are filing just along with your regular tax return, and all money is intermingled, okay? The profits. Sole proprietors are taxed on all profits in the year they are earned. Whether they take the money out of the business or not, that means all the profits are taxed if the business owner has put in a personal bank account, even if the money is not in a separate business or checking account. Okay, so that's the reason we're going to talk about this later. It's important to set things separate. You don't want everything that you make to go into one account. So if you've got a business, please, please, please set up a separate business account. The losses. One benefit of this is that your losses from a sole proprietor goes against all sources of income. So if you got a business, you're filing a Schedule C, you have a loss. Say you have a loss in your business of $10,000, but you also work a full-time job and you made $100,000, that $10,000 loss is actually going to come off of that $100,000 as well, because it is filed on your regular 1040 form. The next entity we're going to talk about is a limited liability company, which is the LLC. A lot of people thought this was a corporation when it first started because everybody would say limited liability corporation, but this is a company. It is not incorporated. The limited liability company is a hybrid entity. It's just an entity. It is not a corporation. It is not, what it does is set up mainly to protect your liability, limiting your liability as a person, okay? So what that does, it combines like a pass-through taxation of a sole proprietor with the limited liability protection that is available through incorporated. The specific aspect of forming an LLC varies from state to state. Different states charge different amounts to establish an LLC. Most of the time, you just have to file your articles of organization with the Secretary of State in your appropriate state, okay? You can open LLCs in other states. Some states have different rules. It is very important to check the rules of each individual state when you're setting up an LLC. Under an LLC, liabilities under the state law LLC, owners are given the protection from liabilities that were previously afforded only to corporations. Generally speaking, owners are not personally liable for the LLC's debts, legal financial obligations, or losses resulting from lawsuits. The LLC owner still can be held personally responsible for certain items. These are the items that they can be held personally responsible for. Debts that the owner signed as a personal guarantee. So that means if you go and get a loan and you sign as a personal guarantee of the loan, you are held responsible for that particular loan, even though it's for the LLC. Overdue payroll taxes, especially in a small LLC, the owner has an active part in the management. So if you have W-2 employees that you are withholding taxes on and you do not pay the payroll taxes, you are held personally responsible if you are handling that part of the business. So if you hire someone else, a company, a payroll company, that will release that responsibility from you or that liability. Breach of any fiduciary duties if the owner does not act in the best interest of the LLC or the other members. You are held responsible for fiduciary acts. Owners that use the LLC as an extension of their personal affairs rather than as a separate legal entity. Make sure when you set up the LLC, you are using it for the purpose in which it was set up, for your business, okay? The taxation on an LLC, there are two default taxation treatments for an LLC depending on how many members are in the LLC. For a single member LLC, the LLC generally will be treated as a disregarded entity for tax purposes, meaning you will still file your LLC on a Schedule C along with your personal tax return. You're going to file the same way you would as if you were a sole proprietor, but your liability is limited with the LLC. That's the reason even if you're not going to set up a corporation at all, I always advise people, if you're going into business, the first thing you do is need to set up an LLC. You can determine your taxation part later, meaning you can turn it to an S Corp at a later time. But if nothing else, when you first start your business, please set up an LLC. That will give you some protection from liabilities from lawsuits. Tax reporting for a single member, like I said, you're going to file it just like you would as a sole proprietor, and you're going to be using an EIN number. That's another thing that I always tell people to do. Get an EIN number. Take things off your Social Security number. Take things off you personally as much as possible. Because what you don't want to do is keep intermingling your monies, intermingling your assets, and that way everything that you own is at risk. What you want to do is protect your assets as much as possible. This is one simple way of doing that when you first go into business. The next one that we're going to talk about is the S corporation. An S corporation can be set up under the state law with the same liability protection as a regular C corporation. Okay. An S corporation does not pay taxes at the entity level. Income losses and deductions are passed through to the shareholders. Okay, unlike a C corporation, where a C corporation is taxed on the corporate level, as well as the income that they're paid to their employees or shareholders. So, and with a C corporation, you are really double taxed because you're going to pay at the corporate level as well as the personal level. With the S corp, you can also have employee shareholders, which is paid as any other employee. Meaning, say for instance, if I wanted to set up an S corp, I wanted to pay myself a salary out of my S corporation. I would take out all the payroll taxes, and I would actually issue myself a W-2 at the end of the year. Along with the W-2, I will also receive a K-1 from that S corporation, because not only am I taxed, or not only do I have to claim the income as an employee on my W-2 wages, I also have to claim my share of the corporation's profits or losses as a shareholder. So a shareholder will also receive a K-1, which, like I said, we won't go deep into K-1s, but what that is once you figure out the profits and losses of the corporation, each member, each shareholder is issued a K-1 where they can actually share not only in the profits, but also in the losses. And that K-1 is also reported on a Schedule E, not the Schedule C. Okay, so if you're an employee and also a shareholder, you will actually be filing like I said, a W-2 for your regular income and also a K-1 for your shareholder shares of the corporation. Now, an S corp. In an S corp, as you see this picture that you see, these are my children. That's my child and my grandchildren. And an S corp, that can be my shareholders. My children, my grandchildren are employees of my company. Okay, and we're going to talk about that more. Eligible stockholders can be individuals, as long as they're U.S. citizens or residents. They can be decedents of an estate. They can be bankruptcy estates. It can be a 501(c) charitable organization, can be a shareholder in your corporation. A qualified trust can be a shareholder in your corporation. Employee stock option plans can be a shareholder in your corporation. So there are different ways to, and these are ways that also that you can defer taxes. You can have savings, and like I said, we'll go into that a little later in the presentation. So like I said, your shareholders can be your children, your grandchildren. Make them part of your company. This will save you money, and we're going to go over that when we go to savings. So setting up an S corp can be a great thing for a small business starting out. Taxation, the annual profits and loss of a S corp is passed through to its shareholders. Okay. These items are allocated according to each shareholder's proportionate ownership. If I have 50% ownership in the corporation, I will receive a K-1 that shows 50% of the profits, 50% of the losses that I can claim on my tax return. If I give my husband 30%, he has 30% that he will get, okay? If I give 10% to my child and my grandchildren, they will then receive a K-1 for their share in the corporation. Shareholders may also be employees, which we just went over, and allows the S corp to employ key shareholders and pay for the benefits such as healthcare, disability insurance for its employees. So that means if I've got an S corp set up as a tax write-off, I can provide them with insurance, and then it's a tax write-off for the corporation. We're going to get into that in the savings, because This way you can pay for, if you're self-employed, you can pay for your family's insurance, your medical insurance, and it's tax deductible, okay? The salary and wages that you pay to your employees that are also shareholders, that is tax deductible for the corporation. So that means before I'm passing the profits on to my shareholders, that we're writing this off. We're writing these benefits that we're providing to the employees off. So that right there is going to save on the on taxation. Okay. So this way we can provide benefits for our employees and shareholders. Strategies. Let's talk about strategies. The first thing when it comes to taxes is setting up things right. And we can't do any kind of business tax strategies until we have our systems in place. The first thing you're going to do when you start a company, you're going to get your business name. Once you establish with the Secretary of State and make sure that your name that you want to establish is available, you're going to first get the business name. Once you get the business name, you're going to go to the IRS and you're going to ask for an EIN number, okay? Employee identification number. This number allows you to use an EIN number instead of your Social Security number. Like I said, I'm not telling you how to set up your business, but if nothing else, if you don't do an S corporation or a C corporation, the least you need to do is set up an LLC. An LLC will protect your assets. That's one of the main things that you really want to do, is make sure that you are personally protected. So if something happens, God forbid, your company is sued for some reason, you are protected personally. You do not want all your assets at risk. Set up a separate business bank account. Please, please, please do not intermingle money. It is very important, just in case. We never know the future, just in case you're ever audited or everything. We want to make plain what's business income versus what's personal money, what is personal gifts, whatever. We do not want our personal money taxed and considered business income. Use designated credit cards. Use designated credit card. Make sure you're able to distinguish what you're spending for business. And if you can set up a business credit card, establish business credit as soon as possible. One way of establishing business credit, we order ink pens. Myron will let you pay 60 days out. Do that. Business gas cards, they're easy to get. Get a business gas card. Set up a Staples account where you buy your equipment, where you buy your supplies. Establish a business account under your business name. That way you can start establishing business credit and you can grow your business that way. Accounting software. Make sure you set up some type of accounting software. I always say QuickBooks. QuickBooks is great. I love QuickBooks because it allows you to keep up with everything, your income, your outgoing, everything. You can set it up where it's an app on your phone where it'll keep up with your mileage. If you get QuickBooks self-employed, it'll keep up with your mileage. If you tie it to a credit card, if you tie it to a bank account, it will ask you every time you make a withdrawal or write a check or use your debit card for that account, it will ask you, is this a business charge? And then it will categorize it for you. It will just make life so much simpler. But what we have to do is make sure not only do we buy the software, we use it. Take the time. If it takes you a couple of days, a couple of weeks, you know what? Teenagers are great for this. They love modern technology. They love doing stuff like this. If you have a child that's of teenage years, making them an employee, let them help you set up your QuickBooks on your computer, on your phone. That way, if you already have this accounting software in place, it makes stuff so much easier when it comes to tax time. And believe me, your tax preparer will love you if you have set up stuff on QuickBooks, because it makes it so much easier for you to even report to them what you have done that year. It is so much easier to push a button at the end of the year and it calculates all your income, all your expenses for you. Make it easy for yourself. The thing about it, set up systems that makes your life easier. Once life is easier, you're closer to that freedom that you want, the freedom from worry, because it's hard to even be profitable in business if you're worried about how I'm going to report all this to the IRS. A lot of people limit the amount of income they make because, oh, if I make more income, I've got to pay more taxes, or the IRS going to look at me more. No, I want you to be free to make all the money you can make. And doing that is setting the right systems in place. Mileage tracker, like I said, the QuickBooks Self-Employed app has a mileage tracker on it as well, but there are tons of mileage tracker apps. Most of you on here are real estate agents. You need to make sure that you are tracking your mile. That is a tax write-off. That is one of the best tax write-offs we have, because what we do all day is mostly drive. So make sure you're keeping up with that. A receipt scanner, keep your receipts. Okay, document, document, document. It's easy to deal with the IRS as long as you've got a paper trail. Document, document. You don't have to keep it as paper. Scan it, put it in a folder on your computer. I have a client that I said, she said, I can't keep up with all my receipts. Okay, fine. Email them to yourself. Take a picture of it. Email it to yourself. And then what you can do is put it all in one folder. At the end of the year, boom, you've got a receipt folder already on your computer if you don't have a software system set up. To make it easier until you can afford to buy stuff, make your own system. Take pictures of your receipt. Keep them in all, email it to yourself, text it to yourself, put it all in one folder. Your notes button on your iPhone, it's a scanner. Scan your receipts, save them all into one place. So the more you are set up with the right systems, the less likely you are to be audited, the less likely you are to have stress when it comes to tax time, because you are organized enough to know where things are. It's not the point of the IRS is right when they come back and say, well, they question something that you do. It's whether you have proof when you go back. Remember in a class before, we have talked about ordinary and necessary. Who determines what's ordinary and necessary? You do, but you have to prove that it's ordinary and necessary for your business. That is one main thing that we have to keep in mind, that we have to be able to prove our stance to the IRS. That's it. Next, we're going to talk about business tax strategy. To the extent that possible, shift income to the next year and accelerate your deductions. Okay, how are we going to do that? We're going to buy business supplies at the end of a profitable year and accelerate other expenditures like expenses and maintenance. Just say for instance, you had a great year this year and you need to buy a new printer. I would love to have the big Cadillac printer that's color and I can print my own flyers and everything. Can you imagine being able to just buy that? Buy it at the end of the year after you've had a profitable year and it's a business tax write-off, okay? Buy equipment before the end of the year that you can take advantage of the 179 expense deduction, okay? Buy equipment that you can depreciate. Every time you buy something, you don't have to write it off immediately that tax year. Some big ticket items like big printers, expensive computers, you can actually depreciate over time. Some items is 5 years, some items is 7 years. Instead of it, especially if you're buying a lot of these items as startup and you didn't make a lot of money the first year, depreciate that item. That way you can write it off over time when you may have a bigger year the following year or the next 5 years. Donate excess inventory to qualified charities and receive large deductions. Okay. I had a gentleman that went into business last year that I do his taxes. And he told me, he said, Teresa, this year I donated a car because he had bought a new car. He had made lots of money because he not only runs a business and buys properties, he also invests in the stock market, and he had a great year. So he was looking for creative ways to have some deductions. He donated a car. He donated things that he didn't use anymore as a tax write-off. That is one way to do it. Avoid paying payroll taxes by shifting portions of a compensation from salary to fringe benefits. Say, for instance, if you got an S corporation and you have employees and you're paying them a certain amount of money a year, instead of, say, paying them $50,000 a year, if you're going to pay for their medical expenses, or you're going to have group insurance, or you're going to have education reimbursement. These are things that you can offer them as fringe benefits where you're not having to pay payroll taxes on, or they're not having to pay payroll taxes on, but they're getting a benefit from just getting fringe benefits like a cafeteria plan. Deduct 100% of health insurance premiums for you, your spouse, and your dependents. If you are self-employed, you can deduct your health insurance, okay? You got to think of creative ways to save money when it comes to taxes. These are different business tax strategies that big business use all the time. This is how they save, and we wonder, well, how they're only paying this, because they have had tax strategists that has sit down and thought about different ways that they can deduct. One thing is hiring your children and grandchildren. These are my children. That's my child, my son, and those are my 3 grandchildren. Hire your children and grandchildren. My granddaughter came to visit me for a month this past summer. While she was here, I hired her. I had a ton of shredding that I hated to do. I had her do it. She loves the computer. I had her set up spreadsheets for me. Have your children literally work. You can deduct. You can pay a child up to $12,950 this year. That is the standard deduction for a single person. You can pay them up to $12,000 that you can pay your child, that you are not giving them just an allowance just to be great. You're paying them to actually work in your business and actually have them work in your business. Teach them skills that they can take on forward. They need to learn what you do. They need to learn how to work at an early age. My dad owned a service station when we were growing up. I learned how to pump gas at 5. By 7, I'm putting air in tires. I can change my own oil if I have to, because I was taught this skill because my dad owned a company and he believed in employing his children. I also can drive a dump truck because he owned a construction company as well. I know how to pour an asphalt driveway. Don't like to do it because it was pouring asphalt in 100-degree weather was not cute. But I learned that skill because my dad hired me as an employee as a child. Your grandchildren. Yeah, how am I going to hire my grandchildren? My granddaughter is 7 years old. We build websites. We have different flyers that we use. Instead of using crop or pictures that we find on the internet, use our children as models. Now I can pay my granddaughter for modeling. You can find creative ways to use your children and grandchildren to actually make money themselves, where you're not just out of pocket all the time. If my son comes to me and he said, Mom, I need some money. Well, I need you to do this so I can pay you to do it. Stop giving. I called my son this year. I told him, I said, I am no longer giving my grandkids clothes and toys. They got enough clothes, they got enough toys, they got enough shoes. That's their mom and dad's responsibility. Grandmama's responsibility now, I'm giving stocks, I'm giving bonds, I'm giving deeds to property, deeds to land. They're not going to make any more land. The land that we have is all the land we're going to get. I want some sexy dirt is what I call it. If I can buy a piece of property, that dirt isn't going anywhere. Okay, so keep these things in mind. Like I said, hiring your children and grandchildren is the best thing you can do. It's a tax write-off for you, and you're giving them anyway. You're giving them money anyway, so let them earn it. Not only can you do that, you can actually send them to training. Let them take a class. It's tax deductible. Let them learn your business. I will pay for a class for my son to learn how to wholesale. That's what I need to do. That's where I want to get into next. Real estate investing in wholesale. Okay, you go take a class. I don't have time. I'm 58 years old. I don't want to learn a whole lot of anything else because it's a lot. So I can pay for, being that he is an employee, I can pay for him to go take the training, him to learn how to do it. And then it's a tax deduction because he is an employee of my company. Renting your home for business meetings. As a S Corp, as an LLC, you are required to have at least 3 or 4 business meetings per year. You can have one every month if you would like. If you are the only one in your company and you need to have a business meeting, you say, okay, I want to buy a piece of property. Okay, I agree. I motion that we buy the property. I second that emotion. Look in the mirror. I second that motion. Look in the mirror and talk to yourself if you're the only one in your company. That is your business meeting. That's what I always say when people see me talking to myself. I'm not just talking to myself, I'm having a business meeting because I'm discussing with the employees of my company what we're doing next. You can rent your home for fair market value of renting a space. Pay rent to rent your home for your business meeting. Sit down, if your wife and children are part of your company, sit down at the dinner table, have a discussion on what your plan is for next year. Go over your goals, whatever. Go over where you want to see your business in the next 24 hours, 24 years, 24 days. Have a business meeting. Discuss this. Make motions to either expand or disband or buy new things. Have this business meeting and you've just rented your home. You don't have to count that money that you rented the space as income, but you get to deduct it as a business cost because you rented your home for a business meeting. Also, if you decide you want to have a Christmas party for the employees of your company, you can rent the space for a Christmas party for your family. How would you like to write off your Christmas dinner? You can do that, okay? Retirement plans, setting up retirement plans and 401ks, that's another way to shift income, okay? What we wanna do is shift income. We're not trying to hide it. We're just shifting it to where we don't have to pay taxes either now or ever. We might just defer the taxes to pay them later. Savings, ways to save money. The best way to save money is to never lose it. This is what we're talking about. How do we save money in our business where we're not paying taxes to Uncle Sam? We don't want to make it and give it all away. We know that taxes is a necessary evil. We're going to pay taxes, believe me, to the day we die and even past dying, because I've done a tax return for a gentleman that he was over 90 years old. He still, the way he was so savvy setting up his retirement, he made enough money that he still paid taxes at 90. And taxes never stop, okay? So let's get used to it. At 90, he still owed taxes. Well, the next year his daughter came in, he had passed away, and I did his taxes. He was already passed away. I did his final tax return and he still owed taxes because of the money that he had collected. So death does not even keep you from taxes. So that is something that we're going to have to accept. Just like the poem says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Taxes is something you cannot change. The courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. Know what to do to change and have the courage to do it. You don't have to live life being afraid of anything. Either change it or accept it, period. Business deductions and expenses. There is a way to write off almost anything that you have in life, almost. Even when you go on vacation, what I tell a realtor to do when you go on vacation, I don't care where you go, even if you take a cruise. On a cruise, they do have excursions. Do not pay for the prepaid excursions that everybody is going on. What I want you to do when you go to Puerto Rico, when you go to Jamaica, you call a realtor there. You set up to see a home there while you're there. You set up to go to an open house. Do some type of business activity so part of your vacation can be written off as a tax deduction. Take your family with you. Tell them that you're going to show if you want to take your grandchildren to Disneyland, fly out to California, take them with you to see a home. Go visit homes while you're there. One day, take one day to go on an open house or go to see a realtor and ask them to show you $1 million property just because you want to see it. Go see a $10 million property. Take your children, explain to them what you're doing. That is not only now a business write-off, but you've taken your whole family on a trip that you can write part of it off as business. There are things that you can buy, you can do that you would want personally that you can use in your business some type of way. Do it. Education expenses, like I said, pay for your children to learn your business. If you're in the real estate business, pay for your child, your teenage child that just turned 18 to take the real estate class. You can deduct it. And even if you're paying him, he can have it as a tax deduction once he starts a business or she starts a business. Teach your children now to be business minded. Let them see what you're doing. One thing that I regret, my dad used to buy properties, tax liens, deeds, and stuff like that. He did it all the time. My dad didn't even have a high school education, but he was smart enough to do those type things. The only thing that I hate that he didn't do is take us with him when he went to bid on these properties, when he went to the auctions. Teach your children now how to handle money so they're not afraid of money when they get older. Some people are scared to be in business. Some people rather be an employee the rest of their life because they're afraid of the responsibility. Quit being afraid of responsibility. It's to respond with your ability. Increase your ability. That's what our pastor says all the time. Your responsibility is responding with your ability. Increase your ability so you are not afraid to respond. Take on the responsibility of being a business owner. You will never get rich working for someone else because they're going to make sure that you always make less money than they do. I worked for a big tax company for years, 15 years to be exact. I worked at one company. I made them hundreds of thousands of dollars in 3 months. They paid me thousands. I made them hundreds of thousands. Just me. Just think of the thousands of employees they had that made them hundreds of thousands of dollars in 3.5 months. I will never be as rich as the owners of that company. But if I'm the owner of my own company, I have the opportunity to be so. Don't limit yourself by being afraid. Fear and unorganization will stop you in your tracks and keep you from being successful. Estimated taxes. This is one thing that I want everyone to get in their mind. As self-employed individuals, we are not paying taxes every time we get a paycheck. Every time you get a commission check, every time you get paid as a business in any type of business that you're in, that money is not taxed until you pay the taxes. Do estimated taxes. This will avoid underpayment penalties. Pay estimated taxes quarterly. Keep up with what you make. Pay it. Some people say, well, can I just keep it in a bank account? That's up to you. If you want to do that, are you going to make more interest on the money than you're going to pay in penalties? Make sure it's beneficial for you to do it that way. Otherwise, send it to the IRS quarterly. That way, at the end of the year, you don't have that underpayment penalty. Tax deferral. if you're self-employed, just like a regular employee, you can set up simplified employee pension plans. You can set up solo 401ks. You have the right to do so. The amount you can contribute to a 401k or a self-employed employee pension plan is $19,000 for people under 50 years old. Over 50, I think it's $26,500. Make sure you're contributing to your retirement. This is tax deferral. You're taking this money, pre-tax dollars off the top, you're putting it into a 401k or a pension plan. It is not taxed at this time at your higher income rate that you are right now, but is taxed later when you pull it out after your retirement age. Set up health savings account. Set up your small business like a big business. This is how big businesses get away with paying less taxes. They are doing the smart thing. They are doing the things that make sense, okay? Set up your retirement plans. Just like I said, I refuse to give any more Christmas gifts to my children and grandchildren that is not smart gifts. I'm giving them stocks. I'm giving them bonds. I'm setting up them, set up them a Vanguard account where they've got money that's making money. Why am I going to buy a pair of tennis shoes that my grandson is going to grow out of in 3 months and I've paid $100 for a pair of tennis shoes? I'm gonna buy $100 worth of stock in Nike, okay? I'm gonna buy $100 worth of stock in Microsoft, something that's gonna make money. Buy $100,000 worth of stock in Tesla. Something that's gonna actually make money instead of depreciate. I was talking to my son the other day, he's like, Mama, we have enough stuff. And we do. We have enough jewelry, we have enough clothes, we have enough shoes. Yes, true, update your car. I love driving a new car. But on the same token, what I'm gonna do is also own stock in Audi. I'm gonna own stock in BMW. Own stock in Maserati. What you want, own stock in some of this stuff. Quit making them money, let them make you money. The new car coming out, the Lucid. I don't know if anyone saw it. I was in Tyson's Corner Mall the other day, saw the car. It's like, I want this car. I love this car. It's a new electric car. I love it. Fell in love with it. But before I can buy the car, I had to buy some of the stock, because when the stock go up just like Tesla did, I'm going to make some money on Lucid instead of paying them. Okay? Make money on them first. Resources. There's all types of resources out there. Please, please, please know that this is not the end all to be all. There's a taxpayer advocate service. They work for you, okay? IRS.gov has got plenty of information. SBA, if you did not take advantage of the SBA loan, if you were in business prior to 2020 and you did not take advantage of the PPP loans and all the loans that they had out there, you missed out on money. They were given loans with very, very low interest rate. This was what you could have used to jumpstart your business, to move your business to the next level. We have to be prepared, make sure our taxes and stuff are in order so we can take advantages of government programs. The first thing they're going to ask you for is your last year's business tax return. Make sure you have that so you can be in line for this type of things. We miss out on stuff because we're not prepared for it. That is the end of my presentation. Remember, there's less traffic beyond the extra mile. Go the extra mile. Do what you need to do to set up your business properly. Do what you need to do business right, and be ready for what comes for you. Do not be afraid to make money. Have the freedom to know that you have things set up properly, so that way you can do your business right and you are prepared for the IRS and anyone else.
Wow, that was awesome. Let's give Teresa a round of applause.
That was awesome.
That was amazing.
Great job.
Love it.
Good job, Teresa.
Good stuff.
Thank you so much, Teresa.
Good job, Teresa.
Teresa, you had a couple of questions. Does someone want to step out and ask a question? Teresa, do you have time to answer a few questions?
Yes, I have time to answer a few questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Teresa, one of my questions was, if you hire your grandchildren, can you hire them under the LLC or does it have to be the S Corp? And if they are making that kind of money, you know, for the year, they will have to file taxes on that, correct? And do they take the loss as a company take the loss?
The company takes it as a write-off. They do not have to file taxes as long as you keep it under the 12,950.
950, thank you.
But they need to do an activity for real. You can't just pay them 12,950 and they're just sitting there looking cute. Like I said, my small grandchildren that can't like do physical labor, I'm hiring them as a model. I'm gonna use them as their pictures on my website or whatever. You hire them for things that they can do, okay? Don't just say, I'm hiring my child and she's just sitting here looking cute and I just wanna give her because she wants to buy this and that. No, put her to work. Let her, you know, build your website. Like I said, children are amazing with this modern technology. Let them, you know, do something that you can actually pay them for. But be legit. Document the hours.
Say that with the LLC. Can you do it with the LLC?
Do that under the LLC as well.
So Teresa, that slide that you had of all those deductions, is that only for an S Corp or any?
No, the deductions are for business, period.
Okay.
Period. If you got a business set up, you can use those deductions that I had on that slide.
Thank you.
Hey, Linda. I just wanted to say in regards to your question, what I'm about to start doing with my lazy teenage children is utilize them to hang door hangers and pay them that way. To kind of piggyback off your question. So that's kind of like something that you can, you know, kind of incorporate, get them out the house, get them off video games and, you know, make them utilize their legs to do something in life.
That's right. Let them put out your signs. They can put out signs. They can pass out flyers. It's a multitude of things they can do. The shredding. I hate shredding. Oh my God, I got a pile of shredding. Let them do that. Let them file. Let them, the software that you just bought, let them figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Let them put that in there and document the hours. I mean, let them get used to even like a time card. Write down the time you start, write down the time you finish, set up how much you're going to pay them to do that. When they ask you, Mom, I want to buy the new video game. Okay, it's $160. Okay, this is what you need to do that. You need to pass out these flyers. You got to go through the community, pass out the flyers, hang door hangers, do signs, do something. There's several things that your children can do that you're wasting time doing that they can do. And if they're teenagers, let them do your calling.
So when they make those calls, does it comes out of your business account, right?
Correct.
You pay them from your business account.
Pay them from your business account. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Document it. Do not just give them cash, you guys. Give them a check. Give them something that you can document.
Absolutely.
With that, staple together their I mean, I'm a paper person still. I still like paper. I do things electronically, but make sure that you have an accounting record of this. Don't just pay them out of this. And then when the IRS come back and ask you about it, you got to, you know, scramble to gather things together. Have things in order where they can see that, yes, my child worked from 9 to 4 on this Saturday. You know, they get out of school.
Could I PayPal them the money with that information in it?
Say that again.
I said, if I pay them, could I PayPal them the money with that information in it? Like almost like a.
I'm not a PayPal kind of girl, but hey, as long as you got a paper trail, as long as you can document it. But like I said, you do want to be able to document what they did to earn that money, to make sure that you can prove that it was earned and not just you giving your child 10 grand. You know what I mean?
So basically the idea is, what she's saying is this: if you're gonna PayPal it, you have to PayPal invoice. If you're gonna Apple Pay, you have to invoice it. So basically you put in the memo, this is what this is for, so that, because the problem a lot of people get into when it comes to taxes is when you're getting audited, that's when they want to start finding the invoice and writing stuff on the invoice. No. You do it, you know, is it simultaneously? Is that the word? Or is it whatever that word is? You do it as it happens.
Okay, listen, this is what I want you to think about when you're paying your children even. You pay them like you would pay an employee.
An employee, correct.
if you have a transaction coordinator, you're not going to pay that transaction coordinator if she doesn't send you an invoice or she doesn't have a way that you can prove that you paid her. You treat your children the same way. If you got an employee and they clock in, clock your children. Like I said, even if it's just writing it on a spreadsheet or they have to go into the computer and click on this or that, make sure that you can document that they are actually working. When I'm gonna have my granddaughter come and do the photo shoot, I'm gonna document the day we did the photo shoot and where we used this photo for. That way you can prove to the IRS that you are actually paying them for a service, for something they actually did.
Contemporaneously, that was the word I was using for contemporaneously. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
This is Guy. Hey, everybody. Thank you.
Guy.
This was great. I'm glad I was able to come in. Thanks, Rod, for putting this on.
Thank you.
But a lot of us are getting revenue share these days. And for the 10 years that I've been here, most of my revenue share checks, I just had them come directly to me and pay them. But now I'm looking at setting up the corporation for it because it's gotten pretty sizable. So I wanted to know, is it the best to do it? You mentioned a couple of ways of setting it up, and I've had an S corporation before, but should I do an LLC? Because I want my my family, my daughter who's now licensed, to be able to participate in that, in getting that revenue share in the event that I pass away and that money is still coming in.
And what I would advise you to do is talk to a financial advisor, because you could even set up an LLC for your asset protection. So you can put your assets into an LLC. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't advise you on how to actually set that up, but talking to a millionaire over the weekend, last weekend, I had the opportunity to sit down with a multi-millionaire and get some ideas from them, because see, I don't need to talk to someone that's making the same amount of money I'm making, because they're going to do the same thing that I'm doing. But I talk to people that of where I want to go. And when I walked in the room, like I said, and I dress for where I want to be too. I don't necessarily dress for where I am. And I walked in the room and he was like, I know you're a millionaire. He said, I said, no, I dress for where I'm going. I said, I am one. I just haven't seen it in fruition yet, but I am one, but that's the thing. And that's what you do. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Okay. If you're the richest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So absolutely. I have gotten to the point. That's the reason I can shop. I live right down the street from Spotsylvania Mall. I went to Tyson Corner Mall, because what you have to do is set your mind. Like I said, your mindset can stop you from a whole lot of things. Not only fear. I'm not afraid to walk in the room with anyone and talk, because that's who I am. I'm a talker. I don't mind talking. I'm not scared because I know what I know. I'm not saying I know everything, but I do know what I know. So when I walk into the room, I walk in with confidence, and that's what you have to do, because now this man is willing to mentor me to a certain extent, because you want to find out what they're doing. And he was talking about asset protection and setting up LLCs and LLFPs, limited liability, family protection plans and all this. And this is to set up to protect your assets. Everyone should do this. You may not think you have a lot of assets right now, but please, LLC is not the only thing that's going to protect your assets. You have to have other vehicles in place. Talk to a financial planner. Once you get to a certain income level, you need a financial planner. You need someone that can advise you about retirement. You need somebody that can advise you about taxes, not just a tax preparer. You need a tax strategist once you start making a certain level of money.
All right. Did we have any other questions? That was awesome, Teresa.
Awesome, Teresa.
That was awesome.
Zenith Williams raised her hand.
Yes, I have a question. I was wanting to see about the possibility of buying a property, residential property in an LLC. What advice would you have for me?
Okay, you wanted to buy a property do it. Set
Using
up an LLC. You
LLC.
can buy properties in an LLC.
Okay.
That is the best way to do it.
Okay.
And each property should have its own LLC.
Thank you.
Don't lump all your stuff in one place, period. Just like I tell you, don't lump your personal and business account. Don't lump all your assets in one place. Okay? Diversify. Don't put all your money in one place. I don't put all my money in one stock. I have several stocks. I have stocks with several different companies, but we get so used to putting all our money in one bank account. All my business money is here. All of this is there. Separate your stuff. Buy your properties under different LLCs in different states. Some states have different laws governing LLCs. Check them out. Nevada is a great state to have an LLC in.
Can you elaborate on why buy a property in an LLC?
It's according to what you're going to do with the property. Like I said, it's asset protection. It's keeping you, because if it's in my name, someone sues me, they've got everything that I own with what's in my name. But if it's under an LLC, and say for instance, you've got a rental property, it's an LLC, you've got tenants in there. The tenants leave, you don't know it, they left the house open, a drug addict goes in there and overdose. That's your property. That could be a potential lawsuit. But if it's in your name, everything that's attached to you is at risk. But if it's under an LLC, only what that LLC owns is what they can get.
Got it.
Protection. It's all about protection. It's all about protecting what you have, keeping what you have, tax avoidance, not tax evasion.
Teresa, can you touch on leasing vehicles?
Oh, yes.
Yes. I buy, I don't lease. That's just my preference. You can actually buy your car under, Jimmy can speak on this because I think he's done it. So Jimmy, would you like to speak on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same thing as you're talking about. Again, as a business, you can depreciate the assets. As an individual, I can't. I cannot depreciate my car. Yes, I'm using it, and there's a limit to what I can, use if I'm just self-employed and I'm claiming, I can claim mileage, but I cannot depreciate the car because it's not, for me as a personal use or for anybody as a personal use, it's not, a car is not an asset. But as a business, your car becomes an asset because it's your means of transportation to go do what you need to do. The same thing if you want to buy a boat. If you show a lot of properties on a marina or on a waterfront, you as a business, you have a boat, a yacht, whatever. You can use that and say, okay, I'm using that as my business and I can depreciate that. But now you, as a personal person, just buying $1 million boat, right, you cannot depreciate that. So that's why it's necessary. Anything and everything you want to do and can do it under your business and use it for that purpose. And it's, again, like Teresa said, it's all about documenting every single thing. And you have it, it's planned out. It's not just being done arbitrarily. It's known that this is what it's done for. I purchased the boat under a business name because it's being used for business purposes. I purchased my car under my business name and I'm using it for that. Whether I'm leasing it or I'm purchasing it, you can do those things, as under your business and use it for that purpose. It doesn't mean you can't use it for personal stuff, but you use it for that purpose.
Right, and those lease payments are tax deductible.
Correct.
So that's why I'm sorry, Teresa, I threw you off with that question. I think that's the point.
No, I was thinking you were talking about the ones.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's okay. Yeah, no, they are tax deductible. Yes,
yes, thank you.
So are vehicle repairs tax deductible as well?
If you've got it under the business, yes.
Correct.
Okay.
And then your tax person, like Teresa, will be able to tell you what your limits of deductions are.
That's right. There is a limit.
Good morning. Yeah, really quick. You just mentioned that every property we should buy should be individual LLCs. Why would you? Can you elaborate on that?
It's according to what you're doing. If you're buying several properties as rental properties, fix and flips, something like that, yes, I will put it under different LLCs because the reason I say that is because, like I said, anything happens on those properties, you're liable. And if you've got it under your name, or if you got 15 properties under one LLC, or 10 properties under one LLC, and something happens at one of them, all of those that's under that LLC is at risk.
Okay, thank you.
So if someone decides to sue you, it's not just that one property that is at risk because that's where it happens. It's everything that you have under that LLC because they're suing the LLC, not that one property.
Okay, great.
Can I add something to that as well, please, if you don't mind? The other reason why you don't want to have every single thing under your personal name is, God forbid, if you pass away, everything gets tied up in probate. You know, the things that you work for your family gets tied up in probate, and there's a whole lot more things that could go wrong.
That's right. And setting up trusts is very important as well. You know, and that's the thing, asset protection. I want to protect my assets for my benefit until I die. But once I die, I want it also protected for my family. So it goes to my family. I determine what happens to it, not probate, not, no one else. I have that. That's the reason it is so important to sit down with the right people to set these things in place. Sit down with a financial planner, sit down with an attorney to do what's best for your particular situation. Everyone's situation is different. So there's no one correct answer for everybody. So make sure you have the right people in place. I believe in, I don't know it all, but I know how to have a team. And it's important to have the right team put together.
Absolutely.
Have a financial planner, have an attorney. Like I said, I can pick up the phone right now and call an attorney and ask questions. I can pick up the phone right now and call a financial planner. You need to have these people in place. Not one person knows everything. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a financial planner, I'm not a retirement specialist. But those are the people you need to talk to make sure your stuff is set up correct.
Can you recommend a good financial planner?
No, I don't. No. I'm just, no. I can't.
Just throw that
And for gosh sakes, everybody have a will. If you're trying to protect your assets, there is no reason anybody should not have a will, because just like what she said, I've lived it. It makes it extremely difficult. If you don't have one, you have to get this in place.
Yes.
And add to a will a trust. Become your own bank. Create a trust. Talk to a financial advisor. Talk to an attorney. Create a trust. Become your own bank. Let it's all about legacy. We in Dream Team, that's what we talk about. We're part of the legacy builders. It's about building a legacy. There's no reason for you not to have a trust. It doesn't matter whether you have $1 or you have $1 billion. You need a trust. It costs you money, but you need a trust. You must. You owe it to your family as a legacy to make sure you have one.
And like Jimmy said, become your own bank. If you set up retirement accounts like they should be set up, you can borrow money from yourself, pay interest back to yourself instead of paying it to a bank. Come on now. We've got to think higher.
Wow.
And why am I going to keep paying maybe federal interest when I got a retirement account set up with money in it that if I want to buy a rental property, I can pull from my retirement account. Come on now, and I'm going to pay interest back to myself. Come on now, who don't want to pay interest to themselves? If I got to pay interest, let me pay me.
Another thing to keep in mind, if you own a couple houses that are in your individual name, keep in mind that when you're older and if you do have to go to a long-term care facility or to be put in a nursing home, the government can go after that. So to put those in your kid's name, I just put one of the houses in my kid's name because it's got to be out of your name. I believe the law right now is 5 years. They can go back, if not 5. I think they're looking to make it 7.
Trust.
So it's got to be.
Yes. And see, and those are the things that we just don't know automatically. It's okay to ask questions. Please, you guys, ask questions to the right people, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You got to have these people in place. Ask what you need to do. Like she said, you never know what'll happen. My sister was 4 years old when she became bedridden. So prepare. It's better to be prepared than to at the last minute, because when we scrambled, she had a brain aneurysm, bedridden for the last 20 years, had a home. And we can do nothing with that home right now because it's still in her name, but pay for it.
Yeah.
So make sure that you set things up. You never know.
How do you find the right person?
Talk to people that already has money. They've got those people set up, believe me. Like I said, that's what I did. I made it a point. That's the reason when he asked me, can I suggest a financial planner? No, not right now, because I don't know one like that right now, because I'm just getting started in that. But I talked to a millionaire. Talk to a millionaire. Call Rod.
Another recommendation for that, talk to your personal banker, as in your bank. Go to your bank and have a conversation with the manager and let them give you, recommendations. But again, interview a different, speak to someone at Vanguard, speak to someone at Fidelity, all those, reputable companies, speak to them and they will give you, recommendations, and then you can source it out based on what your comfort level is with having spoken to those people.
And something else that Jimmy said, this was what this one millionaire told me. Even though he's a millionaire, he said, make friends and have an account with a local bank, meaning not a Bank of America, not a Chase, none of those, a little community bank. So when they walk in, they say, hey, Mr. Obi, hey, Mr. Allen, hey, Mr. You know what I'm saying? That they know you by name. Okay, a Bank of America, you may know the manager, but he can't make decisions like that. But a small local bank, get to know local banks. Okay.
Awesome,
Set
guys.
up an account there.
Yes. Awesome, guys. Let's give Teresa another hand. Wow.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good.
This was fantastic, guys.